let's cut to the chase. The important point I'm trying to mention here is React server components doesn't actually require a server. And I'm not saying it. Dan himself is saying it, and even he's confused that people are thinking it does require a server and saying as if it's actually true. So you might have watched Theo's this video about this article on two Reacts. So I'm not going to explain everything what's on this article. You can just watch this video by Theo, or else I'll link this article in the description. So let's get to the very important points in this article, and also I'll explain what might be the reason. I'm not completely saying that this is the reason. What might be the reason for naming it server components? So when you see this, it updates instantaneously. You know that this is a client component, and this part of code runs on your own computer. This is my laptop. So, and this part of code is compiling on my laptop or rendering on my laptop. So in the pre-JavaScript era, you what happened was you would have to wait for the delay between client and server communication. But there are few things where you can't wait for a while, such as if you have a range slider. So for that, and for such clicks where you need instantaneous reactions, you can't wait for any delay. You just need zero delay views, for which you will obviously need to run client-side components. But on the other hand, you have server components. So what does they do? Here is an example he proposed. Basically, this is a post preview, and this is one of his previous posts, which has 2400 words. And he's asking us, how does this component, this particular component, from this page know how many words were there on some other post? It's not possible, right? You can't, and your laptop doesn't have data of that other page or that other file. Basically, these all are MDX files, so your laptop or my laptop doesn't have the data. And he's also saying that you can check network tab, and there is no API request going to get up to pull the file just to count the words. But how does this component work? He just gave a logic for this component, and you can see basically what it does is it is just calling the MDX file, or MD file is just calling the file and getting the data out of that file and making an array and counting the length of that file. It's as simple as that. But here is the important point. When does this piece of information compile or run? Does it happen on client? So whenever I reload this page, does it run at that time on the server and give the information to me? This is what everyone think. But here is the catch. So here, when you scroll down a little, he exactly tells about this. None of this code need to be run on your computer. And indeed, it couldn't, because your computer don't have my files, obviously. So when did this code run actually? It did run on 5th January 2024, which is when actually he deployed this blog post into his web hosting. And you can see currently the date is 12 January, 8 o'clock, and I can even reload this page and the date will be same. So basically what is happening here? So whenever you have server components, the API or whatever it is, the static components are being generated from your server components and being stored in your build file. Basically, these files are static right now. Whenever your code compiles during the build time, all the server components are static files, just like an image or just like any other static file. Your code is now a static file or a basic HTML file, so it doesn't contain a post list or post preview anymore. That's what he says. And no file content, no directories, nothing. It just contains basic divs and sections, and it all happens during build time. And yeah, so you might the question why this is called server component then. So here, when you actually scroll down a bit, he says that if we are here, if you want to allow instant interactivity, you need to use counter. But if we have to run components, okay, But if we have components like post preview, can't run on client because it uses server side only APIs like read file. There are many APIs. If you have been working in this space for a while, you might have seen there are a lot of APIs which only works on server side. Like they give crocs errors on the client side, and there might be a lot of errors and they won't function on the client side. They only works on the server side. So basically, for such APIs, maybe this is like server side calling them. Maybe so I probably think that's the reason